Welcome back to Politically Speaking, live at Kawartha Golf and Country Club. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful May day and beautiful things to come weather-wise, we hope. We've had a pretty gray month, and it's great to be out here enjoying the outside. We're really delighted for the second half of the show to keep the voice of the Petes with us. We want to talk about a few things sports-related with our sports-themed show. So Pete Dalliday, Pete, you've got several jobs on your list of duties. Some of them have been impacted by COVID, but tell us a little bit about what you're doing. We know you're a radio personality, but you're also involved in sports, and some of them are a little further away. So tell us what you've been up to and what you would like to be doing.
Yeah, I wish I was just wrapping up an OHL championship right now with the Petes. They've had a couple runs into May, and it's a great time to go to the rink. This time of year for playoff hockey, but obviously no Pete's hockey this year on your TV. I don't know what the Lakers season is going to look like, if we're going to have one, but we miss doing those games with the crew here. But yeah, I do the Lakers, the Petes, and last year I got a good chance to go down to Halifax and do National Lacrosse League games, and really took a liking to going down, doing a Pete's game on a Thursday, and then a Halifax game on a Saturday, and I think maybe even one time I came back for a hockey game on the Sunday. So I had the best of both worlds before the pandemic. Life was good, and but here we are 15 months later.
Well, you get to rest up, because I got to think if you're flying back and forth, that could be a little grueling, but you love the job,
Yeah.
but it's grueling, I'm assuming.
You know what? That was the one thing about the early days of the pandemic. I think I did actually need a bit of a break physically and a little bit of a breather, but I would have preferred it at the end of the Halifax and Pete season, because both teams were on their way, I think, to a championship run. So it was really disappointing, but you know what? Health-wise, everything's good. My family's good, and really that's all that matters right now.
Excellent, Pete. Well, it's great to have you here, and we want to talk about Jim and I before the show talked about the other things that are on our list of things that our audience will be interested in, and we have talked about ad nauseum for a long time, arenas. Where do you think the next major arena should go? Should we stay at the Memorial Center? Should we go downtown? Can you give us your thoughts as an insider and someone that would know better than anybody else where that arena should go?
Yeah, I don't know about insider in terms of if I have any inside information as to where it's going. I can give you my personal
Sure, that's
thoughts
what we'll go for
sure.
that.
So
yeah.
you're talking the OHL arena to replace the Memorial Center.
Yep. We'll get into twin pads later.
There's two projects, and people get confused. I get confused, but tough call. I mean, I know there's some people that really think it just should go where it is now at Morrill Park, and I understand those reasonings. There's lots of land. It's shovel ready. I'm not an engineer, but I think you could start tomorrow pretty much after you got through some environmental studies and such. It's ready to go. If you wanted to squeeze it downtown, whether it be sort of the Public Works site or Market Hall in that area, that's going to be a lot of work and a lot of money, as you guys know, to buy up that property. It's not even really available, some of it. Having traveled to every OHL city in the league, from Kingston to Sault Ste. Marie to even down in the States, London, I really love the idea of a downtown facility. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but I think it would be a shot in the arm. We're losing banks every day now downtown. We need something for down there. And there's something about going to a concert or a hockey game, lacrosse game, figure skating show, and being able to go out beforehand and use those restaurants and pubs and go out afterwards, and there's a vibe. Whether that's feasible, I don't know. But if money wasn't an issue, that's where I'd put it.
Well, we need those banks to help pay for it. But Jim, has Pete convinced you it should be downtown?
He doesn't have to convince me. I think it should be downtown. And I think a majority of city council right now would put it downtown, partly because they seem to have finally settled on Morrill Park as a location for this new twin pad arena, which has moved from Trent to Fleming. That's something I want to ask you, Pete. You're connected to both the lacrosse and the hockey communities here. You've got plans for a $52 million at the moment twin pad arena that at the moment looks like it's going to go in Morrill Park, and plans for roughly $85 to $90 million OHL replacement rink that may go downtown. It looks like that's the preferred site. What do you think people in town who have kids who play themselves, what's the priority? What should get done first?
Yeah, and those are big price tags, both of them. And first of all, had we done this 15 years ago when we first started talking about it, it would not be nearly as much, but those are big numbers. Obviously, if you talk to the Petes, I think a guy like Dave Pogue is looking at it, the president of the Petes, from a recruitment perspective, from a business perspective, and I think a new building is obviously high on their wish list, right? Do I think they need it? I don't think so. I don't buy into some of the arguments where we need a new facility to recruit certain players. My opinion is if a 16-year-old doesn't want to come to Peterborough because of the arena, then that's maybe a 16-year-old and his parents that I maybe don't want on my team. So I think the renovations they've done are fine for a few more years. I think they should have built new in 2003, but we can't go back in time. Talking to a lot of hockey parents, which I am, I think we need the pads. I think we need more pads, 2 or 3. So, I'm being selfish, but I'm tired of picking up my 14-year-old kid at 11:15 at night from a hockey practice. Now, people will say, well, no one's forcing your kid to play hockey. I get that part, but that is when the ice times are now for kids.
And that could be in Duro or Millbrook.
It could be.
Right.
And going to Norwood for hockey tryouts. So I just think we need pads. I don't think we need $55 million worth of pads. I personally would take away the 500 seats. I don't know why we're looking at 500 seats on this side, 500 on that side. The last time I was at a minor hockey game or figure skating practice, there wasn't 500 people sitting there watching it. So if we can save money there and add another pad or put that towards the pool, then let's go somewhat bare bones. Let's do it right and properly, but we don't need the Cadillac of arenas.
You've been to many arenas, and we know London. I think it holds 9,000. The Kingston one, I can't remember. It's Leon's or the K-Rock Center. They're great models for Peterborough. I'm thinking of maybe it was a 14-year-old that went to Sault Ste. Marie. We couldn't keep him here, but that had nothing to do with the arena. That was Wayne Gretzky back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. So, what is the real reason we would need to put in more than? Is it? Do we think we'll get more than 4,000 people out to games? I mean, when the Petes are doing well, that place is packed. But can we double that?
Not on a regular basis. No. I mean, I know the city's growing, but there's other sports that are growing too. More kids are playing basketball more than ever now, and that's the whole Raptors effect, and it's a great sport, and you only need a pair of shoes to play, right? So, I don't think so. I think the magic number, and correct me if I'm wrong, is about 5,000 in order to attract more concerts, if you will. There's that sort of magic number for promoters. Like if you have a facility that holds 5,000 or more for a concert or a show, you start to get little bigger acts coming in. And the odd hockey event too, they'll look at it and go, okay, maybe you can hold a Memorial Cup with 5,000 to 6,000. That's a little tight, but 8 would be. Sadly, I think there'd be a lot of empty seats there for a lot of events.
And I think that is the current plan, that they would be maxed to, I don't remember exactly numbers, but it seems a little less than 5,000 for a hockey game with standing, and 5,500 maybe for a concert. Something like that is the current plan. I think Kingston has struggled a bit with trying to fill 5,000 seats.
It's too big at times down there.
Yeah. It's if the team is really, really good, and it's like anything. It's like the Lakers over the years. When they're really good, they draw like crazy. When they're not, they don't. And the Petes are somewhat the same. And just back to that. The Petes looked like this year they were going to have a great season. They were last year they were going to have a playoff run, and they didn't. Do you think that's going to? They talk about concern, and I'm sure they know their business. Dave Pogue, about getting fans back. Where do you see that going for hockey in general?
Yeah, well, I think the issue might be is, and you guys know this, once you give someone something else to do and get them off the routine a bit, it's tough sometimes to get them back, right? So that's what scares me. I don't know. I think people are chomping at the bit to do anything right now. So, you could increase ticket prices and people will be like, I'm in. I want to get down there just to get out of my house.
Right.
But if you give them an opportunity, which the pandemic has done, going back to our golf conversation, if you give a kid that used to play lacrosse in the summer and he took up golf last year, well, he may not go back to lacrosse, because he's found something else to do. And that could be the same case with hockey fans or lacrosse fans or whatever the case may be. If they've found something else to do, it may be tougher to get back. I actually think it might be the Lakers shouldn't have a problem getting fans back. And I think it's because it's the time of year. It's just a nice, the Petes may have the tougher time to get fans back, because they have a great crew down there. Don't get me wrong, they have a great staff that will do everything to get fans back, but they may be the tougher sell, because it's a tough time of year sometimes on a Thursday night to go out in the cold, and maybe I'm just getting old, but I'm like, and you don't know what you're getting. With the Lakers, you kind of know what you're getting, because they're just always good, because they're men, right? There's no turnaround. Where the Pete's, it's a cycle sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had such a good team last year. I think fans are like, well, what are we getting into next year? Because it's tough. I know they're in decent shape. Mike Oak's done a good job, but it's kind of, what exactly are we getting here? So it might be a wait and see process for some fans.
Right.
You talk about getting into sports early, and kids growing up in Peterborough, lacrosse was your option. Don Barry had an amazing program, and I know some people have taken that over, but I don't think it's as intense as it used to be with the old Civic Arena, and obviously with the pandemic, it's a bit of a challenge. But Peterborough's so well known for its lacrosse going way back, and the people that have come out, I know you've just been talking about some on one of your shows recently, and the impacts they've had. But when the Lakers had to move out of that Memorial Center and play out of the Evinrude Center with 10% of the fans, what kind of impact did that have? I mean, is that something that's going to hurt them going forward, or do you think we just have enough growth and interest in the game that it'll carry on?
Yeah, I mean, they took a financial hit by, when you're used to putting in 2,800 fans on average, and then you only put 700 in, and they lost maybe the odd sponsor too, who just wanted to take that year off. That's a financial hit, but I think, player-wise, it didn't hurt them. They went on to win the Mann Cup last year, playing out of the Evinrude Center, right? So didn't hurt them on the floor. I thought the Evinrude Center and the city did as good a job as they could to accommodate the Lakers and the fans, but it's hard to believe it's been over 2 years since we've seen a Lakers game at the Memorial Center because because of that year and then the pandemic. So it's crazy to think that
it seems like a long time ago, and it's a challenge. And that's another thing, Jim, I want to just talk to Pete and you about is, and lacrosse in general, because you see in the pro leagues and in the leagues that play in here in Ontario, the Lakers bring in thousands. You go down to the lakeshore, you might bring in 300. How does that impact the sport? Is that economically, it's got to be a real challenge for some of those teams, and we do see teams shutting down. I think there was an effort in one of the leagues to start up a new league, but how stable is the Lakers league right now?
Stable enough. They have some rich owners in the league. I mean, Six Nations is in good shape that way. Oakville's owned, by some good money guys. So, fan-wise, if they had to rely on fans in the other markets, they wouldn't survive. They have some deep pockets, and that's what's keeping them going. What turned things around here, as you guys remember, getting back to the Memorial Center, really was when they did the renovations. They put in air conditioning in the Memorial Center, and that has been a huge difference for the last 15, 16 years now.
Yeah, so. They finally got that floor correct too. I think,
that too, right?
So, yeah.
I mean, it's a great product.